Hi, Speechies. It's Sarah. And today, I would like to talk to you about what is an SLPD. So you may be seeing some people's credentials say SLPD, and they also say doctorate or you might be confused about what that even means. So I want to talk to you today about what is an SLPD. It is a clinical doctorate. It means that it is a doctorate for somebody that wants to put it into clinical practice, not research or, some kind of position with the university where you would get tenure or do research. You wouldn't be doing that with your SLPD. You still might write a thesis or some kind of culminating project for an SLPD that would impact clients and potentially SLPs. Typically, it is based on the person's unique skill set or client base that they want to impact, and they would work on a project for that and then earn the SLPD. Now, what should be known about the SLPD is that there really hasn't been a standardization across programs in terms of requirements and certification. There really aren't that many programs. There aren't that many SLPD programs. So for example, in speech language pathology, we are required to get a master's degree. It is kind of considered terminal in that once you get that master's degree, it is credentialed and it is supervised by ASHA, the American Speech, Language, and Hearing Association. And so there are many strict rules that you have graduate program has to adhere to, and they have to provide this and that. And then you come out and you can get a credential. And then you can also get from ASHA, after 9 months of clinical supervision, you can get a certificate of clinical competence, also known as your CCC. So that has, very, I would say, highly regulated, and so it should be, to maintain the standards in the profession. But the SLPD is kind of new, and there has been talk about requiring an additional degree beyond the master's for speech pathologists to earn, because there are a lot of complex topics and clients and you name it that we deal with as speech language pathologists. But we have not, as a profession, moved towards the SLPD because it's already hard enough. This is my personal opinion. I don't think that they have required a doctorate because it's hard enough to get SLPs, and there's a huge shortage. And if there was a doctorate required, I think that a lot of people would shy away from the profession. It's already hard enough to get an SLP. In many states, it would be kind of hard. So the SLPD, though, has come to fruition because many of our similar professions, like physical therapy and occupational therapy, are now requiring a doctorate. And, I think that there has been some talk, we should match them, but we are different. And at this point, I don't see it happening that speech language pathologists would require a doctorate. I think that if they did, there would be a grandfathering in period of time where if you have your master's, it would be sufficient. You wouldn't have to go back to get your doctorate, but I just honestly can't even see that happening. Because there's enough demand for people with just master's degrees. And the concern now with the SLPD is that it's just not clearly defined as to what it really brings to the person's credentials, because it's not really looked at in terms of a requirement or some kind of standardization in terms of the certification or credentialing of the programs. So across the country, there are many different SLPD programs. And from what I've heard, some are better than others. And so I would definitely do my homework if I was going to go get an SLPD. I would say that if I was going to go do advanced education beyond the master's, I would choose something other than the SLPD. So for example, I have an education specialist degree, an EDS. It is teachers focused, a very education focused type degree. That was a very rewarding program to go through. It took me a couple years. The SLPD also takes a couple years. The SLPD, depending on where you're going, is costly. Whereas, for example, the education specialist degree I completed locally and it was not expensive. And so, those are things that I would also weigh. Additionally, if I did decide to get a doctorate, I would choose a PhD or an EDD. So the PhD is your standard doctorate. The EDD is a Doctor of Education or an educational doctorate. And those give you the opportunity to work in higher education in tenure track positions and to maybe move up in administration. That would be more, that would give you, those types of degrees would give you more flexibility, whereas the SLPD specifically has been said is not sufficient to get a tenure track position at a university. It has been spelled out that you can't do that as of this current time. And so that to me makes it feel like maybe that wouldn't be worth it. Okay, I hope that helps you, and I will catch you in the next video.